Steven Haggerty, and today we have the co-founder of Platform Performance, Mr. Mark Council. How are you doing, Mark? Thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, I'm very good, Stephen. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, man. Saturday. I always appreciate people that are doing this on a weekend. It's like, yeah, I'm out. I really appreciate that. So thanks again.
That's probably the reason why Steve's not here with childcare and that.
No, I thought we were going to throw him under the bus. I thought we were going to be like, no, you're the better co-founder. You're the guy stepping out.
Yeah, we just, I'm the brains, so I just keep him away from messing up.
You're like the brains, the beauty. That's why you're the one on video. Everything that's,
Yeah,
you tick all the boxes. Yeah, exactly.
I've warned him, like, this could be the end of our relationship. Like, I'll be rich and famous after this. So
yeah, exactly.
We had a good ride.
He may never come into the gym again. Who knows? He's just sat at home listening, going, "Oh my God, that could have been me."
Yeah, exactly.
but listen, before we go into any of your partnerships or anything like that, what is Platform Performance? Because you guys are based out in Manchester, aren't you?
Yes. So basically, it's a small group personal training facility. We are a gym. I use the term gym loosely because it's not what you think of when you say the word gym. Everything you do with us is coached. So it's you book sessions. You don't just walk in and train. There's a community aspect to it. Quite often we're referred to as a pub who sometimes train. That's the kind of the vibe that we sort of throw out.
Yeah. Nice. And you've been going 2.5 years, you said, right?
Yeah, that's right. So as Platform, we opened April 17. I actually, that was when me and Steve got together. I can get into this later on, but I did run another place for about 18 months before that on my own.
Yeah. So, and before that, you were a builder, right?
Well, I was at uni, so I went sort of school, college, undergrad, and it was between undergrad and my masters. At the time, you couldn't get postgraduate funding, so I needed something to pay the masters. Yeah. At the time, I thought I wanted to work in the professional environment, so like working with Man United or Sale Sharks, like that kind of that was the goal. And I couldn't get postgraduate funding, so my brother ran a firm that worked on building sites, doing like CCTV, fire alarms, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So spoke to him. He was like, "Yeah, fine." And it was something that I'd done like half terms when I was at school, that kind of thing. So I'd done it for a bit of money over the years, and ended up doing that for 5 years between my undergrad and masters before the gym supported my wage, basically.
Nice. It's funny how that works out sometimes, when you go, "Oh, I'm only going to do it for 6 months." 5 years later, you're still doing it.
Yeah.
So tell me about how Platform Performance grew to where it is today, where you've just moved into your new facility, right?
No, it's actually the same one that's been completely gutted, basically. Yeah. So I'll say that again.
A fresh face.
A fresh face. Yeah, exactly. We've kind of, as we've matured, we've sort of seen where we sit within the market. We've tried to do it, not like a rebrand, more like a strengthening of the brand to reflect that. Mm-hmm. So we've been doing some work inside the gym to make that feel a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I suppose to sort of give the story of where we've come from and where we are now, it kind of starts before we were Platform. So essentially, the story started, I was on my master's degree working with my brother. I'd worked at like Lancashire County Cricket Club. I'd worked with Man United Ladies, worked with England Lacrosse, and every different club that I went to, it was the same story. So it was long, unforgiving hours, shit pay. And the thing with the industry was, if the team did well, so say Lancs won a game, the manager got a pat on the back. If they lost, it was straight for condition, they'd worked them too hard. It was just like a thankless job.
You're in a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was the same everywhere that he went. The athletes didn't want to be there. They wanted to play in cricket. They didn't want to be lifting weights.
Yeah.
And it was the same everywhere we went. So I got sick of it. I kind of had like not even a quarter life crisis, whatever comes before that, an eighth life crisis, or wherever that would fall.
And mid-20s crisis.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably 21, 22.
Not even mid then. You're like,
no.
Post-teen crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Like an existential crisis about who I wanted to be in the world. So for a while, I was a bit like in turmoil with where do I go with my life. And I was kind of in this place where I was like, I'm earning a wage, working with my brother. What's the point in trying to, sacrifice everything else in my life when I've already got money coming in? Anyway, I went on holiday and we went to Turkey for 2 weeks, me and the missus. And for the first week, I don't think I spoke. I was just in my head. And then the second week,
I bet your missus was really happy about
that. Yeah, she probably was. I hate the sun, mate. As you can see, I'm ginger, so I burn as soon as I hit the sun, so I stay out of the sun. But yeah, so second week, I sort of found myself again, and at the end of it, I can still see it now clear as day. I decided that it wasn't the industry that I hated; it was just where I'd been working, and that if I wanted to carry on working with people because that was my passion, but I wanted to do it on my own terms. And I'd sort of come to this conclusion. I was dead proud of myself, and I sat there on the last night and I was talking to the missus, and I said to her, like, I've come to a decision. I've decided that I don't want to give up my masters because I was in between second and third year, and I was thinking of getting rid of that and just going working for good. And I said, I've decided I'm not going to drop out the masters. I'm going to carry on my last year, and I'm going to open up my own gym as soon as I could, and I'm going to stay within the industry. And I can still remember now, just like eating the food, and she didn't even like break a stride. She just went, I wondered when you was going to work that out.
She knew the plan before you did.
Yeah, she knew what I was going to do. I didn't. Yeah. I wasn't sure, but she knew. I dropped a guy a message who did have a unit that, through no fault of his own, ended up going under. Basically, the mill he was in got wind damaged with a bad storm, and ended up knocking it down. He got literally evacuated, and no one was allowed back in the mill. It was quite a big thing around where we lived at the time.
Yeah.
So he ended up pulling all his stuff out, putting it in storage, and never reopened. So I dropped him a message just saying, you've had your own place. If you have any advice, one thing led to another. We ended up opening together. That's a long, complicated story, what happened in that first partnership. But let's just say it didn't go very well. And decided,
you learned a lot there. You learned a lot.
Yeah, an awful lot. What started out as two people operating one facility became two separate entities entirely.
Right.
Lots of arguments about like money and who was training who and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to separate and go on my own. And during that time, Steve, who I'm with now, he'd gone a different route like in his life, but was deciding we'd always boxed together. So that was our connection was fitness.
Yeah.
And we was like best mates through boxing. And I just said it to him one day jokingly when I was complaining about what was going on where I was. I was training him at the time, and I said jokingly, do you want to run a gym? And he just like laughed it off, and like we carried on the conversation. I think it was about a week later, I was saying probably something else that had pissed me off at the time. And I said it again, do you want to run a gym? And he just went, well, actually, I've been thinking about that. And yeah, I do. I was like, don't say any more. Let's do it. And he just set himself up to do his first, I think it was MNU, what he did first. So like nutrition qualification.
Yeah.
So I was like, done. Let's do it. Like, don't talk about it. Well, let's get the wheels in motion.
How did you make sure that he was going to be a better partner than the bad partner that you had before?
Do you know?
Because that's a lot of thing that comes up, right? A lot of people go, I want a co-founder. I want to do this with someone. But it's that, how do you make sure that the person you're doing it with is the right person to as much as a degree you can make that decision,
Do you know, I have thought about this. People told us at the start, like, you're gonna have to get something in writing, like before you open, and say, define who does what and so on. And we didn't do that. But I think the relationship me and Steve have, because we box together, we punched each other in the head a lot of times. We've gone through a lot of like ups and downs together. Like we've traveled, sort of across the country watching each other fight. We've cheered each other on. And I know that through the training we've done together over the years, like 3 nights a week, sometimes 6 days a week, for probably 8 years. Like I knew like the work ethic he had, and I knew the passion that he had for health and fitness, and kind of that was enough. We just knew each other that well that we knew that we'd both kind of not die for each other, but we'd back each other at what it was.
And it helps that you can get in a ring together and beat each other up.
Yeah. So I boxed in my last fight. Like I'm not opening the gym, basically ended my boxing career. Not officially in my head, I still fight, but
yeah. That's it.
So I had a white collar fight. I used to box amateur. I had a white collar fight. I need to do something. So in March last year, so we did some sparring with him, and it's just it always ends up nasty when we spar each other. We start off nice and gentle, and then one will land a good punch, and then it's just trying to like
done. I suppose in those punches, you're actually letting off any frustration you have towards each other.
Yeah,
knowing it.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and I think that's probably what keeps the relationship healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Spot on. And I'm guessing you guys, did you, even though you didn't have any like written agreements, did you have that conversation in terms of, right, this is what my role is going to be, this is what your role is going to be? moving forward?
Yeah, we did. Looking back, it was stupid, like what we'd actually agreed we were both going to do. But we did have these conversations about you'll do that. There was a few other things, like as we set up together, like we both made quite big commitments to actually get the ball rolling. Like names on leases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we were both fully committed and tied in. Like, he had the conversation with his missus at the time. I had the one with mine, because it was about to take over our lives. It weren't as different for me because I was already partially doing it to the extent that I was. But for him, obviously, it was a big change. So yeah, it was a big commitment from the pair of us to actually go into what we did.
Yeah, and we touched upon this just before we came live, but like I said, the fitness game seems so busy right now from the outsider point of view, and obviously, all I know is my gym, and a few clients that I've worked with in the personal fitness space. But how are you handling that? Is it as busy as it sounds, and how do you set yourself apart from the other people in Manchester? Because if I Google gyms in Manchester now,
you won't find us
training in Manchester now. It's how do you set yourself apart? How do you be loud enough?
Yeah. Funny enough, you won't actually find us if you Google us. SEO is on my list to sort. But
I know some really good people, so I'll introduce you.
Yeah. So for us, I think we started, it was purely just word of mouth. I think the lucky / good thing for good people in the fitness industry is there's a lot of shit people in the fitness industry, and they essentially drive people away from themselves towards the people who are good.
Yeah.
I think that's the first part of it. So I've probably literally every single person that I have trained has a horror story of another fitness situation they've been in.
Yeah.
Some have and this is a common one, particularly women. They've gone to a fitness class. They're already unsure. They're nervous. They don't know what to expect. They can't actually do what has been put in front of them, and the instructor just laughs them out of the room, screams and shoots at them. I've probably had 3 or 4 conversations with members who've actually walked out of the class crying because of the way that the coach made them feel.
That's not cool.
Not at all. No, and that's completely against our ethos. So our 3 values are encouragement, togetherness, and achievement, and that is literally everything that we, every decision we make is based on that.
Yeah. And I suppose that the bad, like you said, the bad makes you look even better.
Yeah, 100%. The really disappointing thing, but again, it's good for those who operate well, is it's easy to be good in the fitness industry. You just have to be a human, essentially. You have to care. I think the problem is I'm widely generalizing here, and there are a lot of good coaches, don't get me wrong, but a lot of PTs are people who've been in a gym, enjoyed fitness, and then done a 6-week course. But, you wouldn't trust your surgeon if they'd just done a 6-week course. You wouldn't get someone to replace your liver if they'd just read it online.
I've done a Udemy course, and I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure I'm good.
Yeah, it's like Dr. Nick on The Simpsons. It's like that.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Connecting veins and arteries the wrong way around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Some of the things I've seen, and probably everyone's seen over the years from certain PTs. You got to cringe and shake your head.
Yeah. So your growth has been very organic then, by the sounds of it.
Massively up until middle of last year. Yeah. So we hit a point middle of last year where referrals, although they were still coming in, they weren't enough to keep us growing because of the size we'd kind of got to. But just to sort of just go back to what you were just saying, a couple of the things about how we separate ourselves. So the first thing is that we do a good job, essentially. We try and blow people away with the things that they actually get from us as part of a service. So the extra things that they get. But one other thing that we do, which specifically on purpose, as you laughed at earlier.
I love the sentence. I don't know why.
So this is something that's happened loosely for a while, and we kind of made it an official thing. Our social area is called the Platform Arms. It's actually a pub. And the reason for that is it's not an official pub. You can't buy alcohol, but you can get it in the fridge. It's always there.
Yeah.
So most people, for one, having a tea or coffee in the gym, for a lot of people, they walk in and they're a bit, what's this? But you'll see people walking around the gym with, a coffee in between mid sets of squats or whatever. For a lot of people, first of all, that's a bit disarming, because when they walk in and a lot of people are like, can I even drink tea and coffee if I'm going to the gym? What do I eat? Or is it broccoli? Is it cauliflower? And then they walk in and someone's like, do you want a coffee? There's biscuits on the side. It's not your typical gym environment. So we have we're a part of something called the IFBA. I don't know if you're aware of it, and it's basically like a foundation of gyms.
Okay.
It's the International Fitness Business Alliance, and they give part of it is like a business mentorship, but then part of it is like they do meetups and seminars and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They did a big event in June, I think it was, and a guy spoke from a gym that I've admired for a long time in America, and he said about making your gym the third space in people's lives. So you have work, home, and then you're the third. And to do that, you need to try and make it a place they enjoy hanging out. So the niche of his gym is baseball. So they turned their social area into a baseball clubhouse. So when people weren't training, so for them, like off season, they'll just go there and hang out and not train, but they're just, they got an Xbox and that kind of thing. So we went away and scratched our heads and was like, what do our members do if they're not in the gym? They're in the pub. So we turned the social area into a pub. We've just getting it remodeled at the moment. We're going to put a bar in, put some optics in, put a beer fridge in. So we've got the platform arms in the back, the gym in the front.
And have you seen a change in the people coming to the gym because of that?
Yes. So like I say, we did it unofficially probably 18 months ago. It was just like a thing that happened. Like people would just turn up with crates on a Friday. Like legitimately, this would just happen. People would turn up with crates of Corona on a Friday.
We're just having lock-ins at the gym.
Genuinely, like we've had a few wild parties in there when we first opened. I wasn't as precious about the equipment.
Nice. Now you need a coaster for that.
Yeah, well, we've like I just said earlier, like we've just refit the ground floor, and now open drinks aren't allowed on the gym floor anymore.
Where is it? Uncool now. You've become uncool.
Yeah, that's exactly that. Oh, you're too commercial now.
Yeah,
you've changed, man. But yeah, 100% we saw that difference. So it used to be like before that sort of shift, it used to be more athletes and younger, sort of 18 to 25. I think our average age of a member now is like 32, and it's more.
Wow. That's a massive.
Yeah. So it's more of a mature group. We kind of tapped into a few sort of social groups in the area, and literally like all their friends ended up coming because they all fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And it sort of grew from there. But yeah, definitely saw that change. Our place in the market, like we've become more and more aware of what that is recently. So we're not the gym where you're going to be shouted at and screamed at. We're not the gym where we're going to be disappointed in you if you've gone out on a weekend and had a beer. We're the place that wants to be a part of your life that make you feel good every day. And so you can still go to the pub, but you can still have a takeaway. You can eat the same food as your family. And we're going to be there to give you some training you enjoy. And if you want to make that change to lose weight and work harder, we've got all the support and resources you need to make that happen.
Why is it so important for you to be like that? What's that drive coming from?
I don't know, to be honest. I think it's probably because that's where I've seen the way that we can most help people.
Yeah.
I think probably more because of like our ideal customer doesn't want a six pack, doesn't want to squat 200 kilos, doesn't want to do pull-ups with half
they want to be human, right?
Yeah, exactly. They want to be human. I think for me, it's more the benefit of exercise that isn't weight loss. It's everything else.
Yeah.
So, for example, we've had members who this has happened 2 or 3 times. They've joined the gym, complete rock bottom, like no confidence whatsoever. We've had a couple of ladies who've just given birth, and like that's really sort of affected them, like the way they see the body. And purely from them getting stronger and losing some fat, they've sort of seen that they're not just their body's more capable of what they thought, the mind is as well. So we've had a couple of members who've changed the way they see themselves within their social circles and within the world, and have actually applied for promotions that they never would have done previously and actually got them, and ended up moving up the ladder at work purely because they had confidence in what they could do.
Yeah. So actually, we touched upon on yesterday's podcast with Chris Richards. One of those things is we touched upon, and when you start leveling up in your life, you actually have to then level up in every other areas of your life as well.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Really, really good at the gym, but you're still, naturally you would want to level up everywhere else. And that's such a good example of that, how that happens.
Yeah. It's that saying of how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you change that one thing, then you got to change everything.
Everything changes.
Yeah.
The dominoes effect. Another good question I really want to hear from you, because I think we touched upon it earlier, but what are some of the common myths that you see in the industry in terms of personal development, gym ownership, that side of things?
I think one definite myth is if you're a good PT, you'd be a good gym owner. That's not true. I think a lot of people, so the way I went into the industry was different, but the majority of those particularly who set up a gym, end up going PT in, a pure gym or a local gym, do really well, get to, sort of booked out full. And the logical next step in their head then is to open a facility. And for a lot of PTs, I don't think that's the right choice. It's, as you'll know way more than I do, that's a whole different set of skills, like to become a business operator. It
goes from being a PT, being a personal trainer, to a business owner.
Yeah, and I felt that shift in the last 18 months in my head of, I used to wake up thinking about like courses and coaching and research. Like now I wake up and think about like systems and processes and payment systems and better ways we can handle like.
That's really interesting that that's happened to you.
Yeah,
in the last 18 months. But what do you think caused that switch? What do you think caused that switch?
I think joining the IFBA was the biggest one. And seeing, so for example, when we joined the IFBA, we had about 60 members that probably paid an average of like 60 quid a month. Like it was crap. Like what we did was shit, like everything. And we went to this first meetup, and there was a guy speaking there who, again, another person I admired for years, a different gym in America. And he was speaking and, talked about some of his numbers and stuff. And like, he has, what would it be? He has 1,000 members paying $500 a month. So he's turning over 5 million a year in 2 sites that were about.
And you sat again, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah, we actually came out of it, me and Steve, we got back in the car and we kind of sat there for a minute. And genuinely, like, we was in a Kia Venga that was like, what was it, like 6 years old? And there was like brand new Mustangs, Range Rovers, like all the cars all around us. And we was like, we do not belong here.
Well, did that then give you that motivation to do something different then?
100%, yeah. And that was like the fire. Like the reason we joined the IFBA is because there was a few gyms in there that were being supported by this group that we wanted to emulate or be better than.
Yeah.
And we was like, we aren't going to guess it. Like, we're not business operators, we're coaches, we're scientists. Like, we're nutritionists. We're not going to do that. We need someone to tell us how to do that. And so we joined it because of that. And that was like, we went to that first meetup. And then speaking, he was obviously the guy on stage talking about it, but then speaking to some of the other operators who, one was turning over like $1 million a year. One was turning over like 700, 800,000, and we were just like, those are eye-watering numbers. Yeah. Like they were doing per month more than we were doing per year at the time.
Yeah. But at that, when you were hearing those numbers in your head, did you go, we can also achieve those numbers if we make changes, or was it because of the shock? It was like, oh my god, we would like we're never going to do that.
For me, like, price and money has been a massive journey. Like, I used to think that if we invested like £200 into something, it was a huge investment. Whereas now, like, we'll buy proper minor shit for like 200 quid and not think about it. So, but I don't say that in like a bragging way. It's more of a way of like trying to display how far we've come with like money and
your relationship with money is such a huge thing. It's like you're set. Well, I'm a firm believer that it's your second most emotional attachment, right? After probably love and family. If I went into your pocket now and pulled out the 10 quid, you're going to know about it. Even if you had £100 in there or £1,000, you're still going to know about it, right?
Yeah.
How did you change that? How did you change from that thinking about investing £200 to now being able to obviously not worry about
that? I still worry. I just have more belief in the fact that we can use that
to make more money.
I think that one of the things that's changed it is that we've seen that by putting money in, we'll make more money back. Is part of it. But probably the biggest thing that we've had to get our head around is, like I say, our memberships in the beginning were £20, £60, and £70. Like, pathetic now looking back. They're currently 79, 109, 129, but they're about to become 149 or 169. And going from we went in between. We went the £20 became 49, 60 became 79, and 70 became 99. And when we did that, we absolutely shit our pants. Like, we are not going to be able to sell this membership. Yeah, people were just like, yeah, no problem, sign up, and was like, oh, like, maybe we're undervaluing this still. We were sat at that for like 9 months a year, and was like, we got really comfortable at selling those memberships. Another thing we did as well is we went from having a rolling, just cancel whenever you want. Initially 6 month and now 12-month contract.
Mm-hmm.
And that again, it was like, how do we go from people telling us it's too expensive for £60 rolling to buying £129 for 12 months? Like, how do we get our head around that? And that was a struggle. But we got used to doing like the 79s and 99s on a 6 month. So then we made it more expensive, up the contract price. But with each of those things that we've done, it has enabled us to invest more into the service.
Yeah, of course.
We have plowed so much like more money. Like the more we put the price up, the more we've invested back.
It enables you to do things, right?
Exactly that, yeah.
Rather than worrying about, if you still had that £20 a month membership, for example, because I think this is the thing to stress, like you said at the beginning, you're not I wouldn't even class you as almost like a gym in the normal sense. You can't, no one can just rock up and work out. It's all booked. So already you're higher valued than pure gym, as you mentioned it, than that. So if you stayed at that level, you probably wouldn't have been able to do the pub idea. You wouldn't have been able to probably even pay to be part of this mentorship program that you're in. So it's amazing what happens when you allow yourself to start feeling, and you said the words, start feeling the worth that you're valued at.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And that's true, totally. And that is something that when we had the price set at what we did initially, people compared us to those other options at that price. And I think because the facility wasn't bad, but didn't look like the standard of a pure gym, say, which are always kitted out well, regardless of what you get as the rest of the service. So outside looking in, you're comparing purely on price. It doesn't differentiate us. But the fact now you can go to the website and go, whoa, this is 10 times dearer than a pure gym. They're clearly a different service. Yeah,
and like you said, your customers have changed as well, right? So an 18-year-old versus a 32-year-old is going to have a completely different sense of money, sense of disposable income, sense of their own journey in terms of fitness. So it's a whole different story that you're almost selling to these people as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the value in what they receive as well changed as they get older, because when they were younger, it was when the average age was younger, it was they wanted to look good in Ibiza in the summer. Whereas now the motivation is they don't want to drop dead because they've got 2 kids.
Yeah, they don't want to be out of breath teaching their kids how to ride a bike.
Exactly, exactly that. And that in itself is a huge, powerful motivator compared to especially looking good in Ibiza. Like, so what if you're not going to remember it?
Yeah, I don't. So I'm interested to know, because you've gone through quite a journey yourself, from that decision whether to do your masters and whether to carry it on, to having I'm not going to say bad experience, but a different experience in terms of with a different partnership in terms of a gym.
Yeah.
What hurdles have you overcome since doing platform performance in your own life with that side of it? How did you overcome them?
Sure. So one massive one that I had, like, I'm still going through this, is like a proper identity crisis. Like, who am I? I was always
classic imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Do you know, I can't get my head around imposter syndrome, whether that's what it is, whether I feel like an imposter, whether I just can't work out who I am in the sense of where I fall in certain circles. So like I said, like basically I stopped boxing when I opened the gym. It wasn't intentional. Like I say, in my head, I still fight. But so I was always just, so for example, like when I did my undergrad degree, I didn't live in uni. I lived at home and traveled in, so I could still fight and box.
Yeah.
So that was I'd probably say at the time, boxing was first, degree was second.
Like, boxing was your identity.
Yeah, exactly. And then now that's not my identity. It became, okay, I'm now Mark the coach, and now it's like, now I'm Mark the business owner. So where does that fall within? Like, I barely see my friends anymore. Like, am I still Mark the friend? Like, and like I say, you can tell I'm struggling to actually put it into words, like what I'm trying to say.
It's super common, because especially the journey that you've gone on from, Mark the coach, Mark the boxer, to Mark the business owner. And you mentioned friends, which is a really interesting point to bring up in terms of being a founder, being a business owner, that it's a whole different thought process that most people don't understand.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is most people don't understand why you're doing a podcast at 4:30 on a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
It's that's the tricky bit, that because I've gone through that exact same process where you've gone through these growth stages on your own, like personal self, and the reflective, let's call it a downside, is that your and friends is a really easy example to bring up. You know, your friends become a little bit more distant.
Yeah.
And then and then the worst thing about this is Instagram, right? It's the Instagram stories of your friends doing stuff, and you're like, years ago I would have been in that,
Yeah.
them or whatever.
Yeah.
But what's really vital is allowing yourself to like reconnect with what you're doing now and rediscover, because you're not that, you're not Mark the boxer anymore. You're not Mark the coach, although that still is part of you.
Yeah.
It's now it's almost allowing yourself to, like when you went to Turkey for 2 weeks, that first week of just processing all this information.
Yeah.
When was the last time you allowed yourself to do that? If you can't answer, it means that you can't remember, right? So if you said to me, I did it last week, I'm like, okay, great. It just still needs to be processing.
Yeah.
But it's so vital as a founder or business owner, or to be honest, irrelevant of that, is like anyone, to allow yourself to reconnect with yourself, especially through massive change, which you've done in the last 18 months. It sounds like you guys have just had huge change in the business, which is obviously going to have a knock-on effect in other areas. Just like you said, if someone becomes super confident in the gym, they're going to go for the promotion. It's the same principle,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So basically, book yourself a holiday to Turkey and don't talk to your girlfriend for the first week, and you'll be all right.
Well, we're getting married in August, so maybe I'll propose that as the honeymoon.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, honeymoon. I really want to refine my identity. She's like, you married me. I'm
sure she's sure she heard me say weirder shit than that.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. I don't want to get into that. It's your own private life.
I didn't mean like that, but
okay. So that's one hurdle, and that's a massive one, and that's one that is definitely always going to be evolving. It's not the first time it's probably going to come up, or it has come up, and it won't be the last, right? But it's important that we do something about it.
Yeah.
What other hurdles have you gone through?
Yeah. I think the other one, I reckon it's probably the most common one, which is switching off. Like, when does work end?
Yeah.
Like, I've made myself physically ill multiple times just from like never stopping. Like, and it's not because I've got some ridiculous work ethic. It's just because I don't know when to switch off.
Yeah. What do you normally do when you do figure out switching off? What do you normally do?
When I work that out, I'll tell you.
You can check that later.
I think it's probably the only one thing that I do regular, which switches me off, is play pool. So I play like the pub sport pool.
Yeah.
I play for a pool team. I've done that for about 10 years, but in the last year, I've made a bit more of a commitment to getting better at it and taking it more seriously.
Yeah.
So practicing like once, twice a week, and then playing on a weekend, and that completely switches me off because I'm just concentrating on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think that genuinely switches me off. It used to be training, but now, particularly if I train in platform, I'm just looking around like, I need to move that needs fixing.
Yeah, exactly. You need to join Pure Gym to switch off or something.
I've actually just got a PT in another gym for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. And this is another thing that comes up a lot. It's like your environment. If your environment isn't allowing you to switch off, and especially if you're a gym owner, that's like one of the hardest ones to do, because you still want to stay fit and maintain and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you're on a bit of equipment and someone's complaining at front desk, for example, for whatever reason, you're not just going to be like, oh, I'll handle that on Monday.
Yeah. It's like
now.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll try and train like 7, 8 a.m. when it's quiet. There'll be a couple of members in normally. Like, there'll be a session being delivered. 100% of the time, I don't think there's ever been an occasion when I've gone in to train and a member hasn't come over to like get me to coach them when I'm mid-training. Which, it's nice that they still, want to speak to me and stuff. But at the same time, like, I just need to switch off for an hour and get my shit done. And when did you realize that you couldn't switch off?
Or have you always been like that in everything you do?
Looking back, yeah, I have always been like that. Yeah. The earliest time I can think, probably like boxing was like where I used to drive all of that energy. The thing is, like, obviously it does switch off with boxing because you only do 2 hours in a gym and then you're home and then there isn't anything more to do. So you can switch off, but like it was everything. Like I'm kind of like everything I do, it's like all consuming. So it'd be like perfect nutrition, always training. When it came to then, the issue that I have, and I think business exaggerates this, is I can't like put that into multiple areas. It's always one or another. So I'm either always training and the business suffers, or I'm always focusing on the business and everything else suffers.
Yeah. So it's about finding that balance.
Yeah. And that's what probably one of the biggest hurdles I'm still trying to overcome. That, and I don't know who I am.
We'll chat after. But so new decade, 2020.
Yes.
What have you and Steve got in store for Platinum Performance? Obviously, you've rejigged things recently. Where's the growth coming from? And for anyone watching, he's got amazing branded water bottles. I really want one.
I'll see if we've got any. I'll try and post you one.
Yeah, hold you to that one.
So 2020, the plan. So site number 2 is the next big thing we're doing. So we're currently in the process of getting investment. So we are about to go from that point of done it under our own steam to getting an investor involved.
Yeah.
So we have been we're chatting with our business mentor a fair bit recently to get that in line. Basically, we've created we've been sat down with a sort of financial. I don't know what the title is. Is it financial planner, modeler?
Yeah, financial advisor, planner.
Yeah,
accountant, depending who it is, really.
Yeah. So we've been dealing with one of those, whatever they're called.
A money person.
A money person who's created a 5-year business model based in a spreadsheet with our assumptions and what we do. And then we've taken that, we've fine-tooth combed it, sent that to our mentor. He's pulled a few things apart, saying, your marketing spend doesn't reflect how many members you're going to generate, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to tease that out and create the investor brochure.
Yeah.
And then we're sort of on the precipice. We just need to get that in line, and then we're on the precipice of selling part of my baby.
How's that going to feel?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
I think trying to focus on what the outcome of doing that will be, rather than the fact that it won't all be mine anymore. Fuck me.
Well, fingers crossed. No, you've got a really good model, so it's obviously going to be investable. Second location nearby or a new city?
So we are like 5 miles out of the city centre. City centre is potential, but not the only option. There's a few affluent areas around where we are that are potential second locations. There's probably, after the city centre, there's probably 2 potential areas which I don't think have anything like us around, none that I'm aware of. Obviously, city centre does have a few.
Yeah, of course.
Don't think any of them have a pub involved though.
That's the USP.
Exactly.
The pub.
Yeah. So that's the goal. Site number 2 by Jan 2021 and site number 3 by Jan 2022.
Fantastic, dude. That's so exciting. I've got one to my second to last question.
Yep.
If you could do it all again, what would you do differently?
I would change our model in the beginning from the lower prices and the way that we actually delivered sessions. I'd deliver it the way we are doing now. I would probably get more money involved when we opened, rather than trying to do it on a shoestring budget. Yeah. And I think it more around like the back end business side of things is what I'd change. I think the reason that we grew, and probably the proof of the reason why we grew, is because we were good at what we did and we cared. So I think in terms of actual coaching and the human side of coaching, as well as like the technical and getting results side of it, I'm happy with. I have no regrets there in the way that we did that. Right. I think it's more the way that we operate the back end of it and all the nitty gritty business financial.
That difference of waking up thinking about coaching to waking up thinking about systems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the biggest challenge this year is, aside from getting investment, is building a team that can operate to our standards. Yeah.
Now you're at that stage where you want to be building, you want to be moved. So founders go through stages. They go through the first X amount of time in their business. They're very much in it. They're working. They're grafting. They're doing the hard work. and then becomes the growth stage 1, where they start taking themselves out like you did. You start to think about more about the systems, about how you can make it more repeatable and sustainable. And then you have like the exit plan, where you go, right, now I've got to make this business run without me. So if I wake up tomorrow or you get an offer or whatever happens, that platform performance is not going to die without you, right?
Yeah.
And that's that. And I talk about identity really briefly. That's another identity that you're going to have to allow yourself to figure out.
I can already feel that shifting.
Yeah, that's really exciting though. That's super exciting.
It is exciting. We keep like doing different stages, particularly of like the investment part, and it's like, wow, that's exciting. Like the numbers we're talking about with different things are just like numbers we couldn't. When we went to that first meetup, and you said about the numbers, like we walked away like, wow, like is that even possible? Whereas now some of the numbers that we're discussing for certain things are just like, people are talking about them like it's normality, and I'm still trying to get my head around like what that means.
You want to be getting yourself on the stage there, so that you're talking about your gym, and someone else leaves that place going, Jesus, can you believe what Mark's done? And
100%. So the way my head works is, it was like with boxing. Like I started in the gym, and I was like, I was way down, and I'd seen like the big heavyweights who were like, everyone was like respected. I was like, I want to beat that guy. I want to beat him who walks in. So it's the same with like business. Like when we went to those meetups, I'm like, I want to be stood there and everyone asking me like, how have you done that? Like that's the way that that's my motivation is to, my biggest motivation is to kind of in a way like change people's lives with like how well the business can run an exceptional business. But aside from that, it's becoming number one, I think is the motivation, same as it was fighting.
And one of the great things about your business is that the better your business runs and the bigger it gets, the more lives it changes naturally.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
It's such a nice byproduct of growth.
It's like a selfish byproduct of growth.
Yeah, I wouldn't say selfish, but yeah, it's and I always say one of my favorite sayings is, to be selfless, you've got to be selfish.
Yeah.
You've got to have that growth aspect. Otherwise, you can't help anyone. If you were still that £20 gym, you wouldn't be where you are, and you definitely wouldn't be thinking about a second location or a third location, any of that stuff. So you have to have thought like, actually, what do we want from this?
To
be able to get it to where it needs to be.
Yeah, 100%. So mine and Steve's long-term vision is like complete financial independence at the age of 40. That's like the goal that we're working towards.
No brainer that you'll do that.
Say again?
I said no brainer that you'll do that in the sense where you're at now.
Yeah, I hope so. Like it definitely feels like we're in the right path. That's like, we did sit down and be like, okay, it probably when we came out of that meetup, it was like, what do we want out of this? We'd never considered that. We just wanted to.
That gave you a big shake up that you needed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, before that, it was just let's run a gym, see what happens. That's the cool.
Run a gym. Listen once, that's it.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Yeah.
Done. Charge them 20 quid, easy.
Foolish idea that I was going to be like shape of my life, like because I run a gym. Like, I've never trained as little as I do like for the past year.
And you've had what, 7 Big Macs today?
Just prove that's not true.
So no, he was eating half an apple, not a full apple. I'm going to say just half an apple.
You interrupted that.
Yeah. So listen, my last question, like I ask everyone, and I think in your case it's going to be a really great one. But if you were going to give three people, if you're going to say 3 things that can help other people that perhaps that have gone through similar journeys than you, what would those 3 lessons be?
In my industry?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that can relate to you out there. So
I think the first thing would be make every decision about how you can better improve like the member and the customer. I think the second one would be don't afraid to be selfish, this is the one I'm still trying to get my head around, and allowing time for yourself, your family, your missus, training, looking after yourself. Like it doesn't all have to be for your business. Like you still got to live.
Mm-hmm.
This is one I always say to fighters who are having the first or second fight. Don't forget you're supposed to be having fun.
Yeah.
So that's probably number 3.
That's it. You're not doing brain surgery, right? You just get changed. But I mean, you are changing people's lives, but you're not doing brain surgery.
Yeah.
No pressure. Listen, Mark.
Outside the body.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on Founders365. If anyone wants to connect with you or chat to you about your journey or anything like that, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
My Facebook profile is there. Just if you like search my name, I'm sure you'll find it. Our Instagram, it's Mark_platform. The gym is on both. You can find us on Facebook, Platform Performance, and also Instagram is exactly the same, @Platform Performance.
Nice and easy. So thank you so much for being guest number 11. This has been Founders365. I've been Steven Haggerty. Thanks everyone for watching and listening.